What's up, everybody? How's it going? Merry Christmas, if you're still allowed to say that. Happy holidays. We are on the eve of Christmas Eve. Today is Friday, December 23rd. We are going to be doing things a little bit different just because all of our schedules are completely out of whack with the holiday weekend. So it being an NFL slate on Saturday as well, we're going to break down that in 3 different streams here. Both Joey, Jim, and myself are each going to give you our breakdown and go through kind of our normal, stacks, top plays at each position and whatnot. But again, in different format, kind of shorter version, try to get in, try to get out, give you guys what we are doing this weekend and help you guys win some money. So before we get started, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to continue a ton of content heading into the NFL playoffs, as well as morphing into golf season here coming up soon. So if you play DFS, especially on DraftKings, get in. Like I said, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps us a ton. Also, before 20% off manscaped.com using the promo code ZONE20. Again, holidays coming up. If you're looking and scrambling today for a last-minute gift, can't guarantee you guys it's going to get there, but get in, get a gift, help out your friends. Everything from trimmers to razors to fragrances, whatever, you name it, you got it. Let's get to it. So going through the main slate here, some of the things that obviously jump out, weather is going to be an issue this weekend. Not so much as we thought earlier in the week, in my opinion. We only really have one game we're expecting major wind concerns, and that is New Orleans versus Cleveland. But it's going to be very, very cold. Most of you watching this know exactly what I'm talking about because you just have to walk outside and be able to know that. So it's going to be cold in a lot of these spots, but I think there's some areas where I think people are going to freak out and jump off, and I'm more than happy to take some amazing players in those spots. Let me hit on that and what I mean. So at the quarterback position, so if you guys up top here, we got to make some decisions this week. It's going to be a little bit challenging from a slate perspective, in my opinion, just because the running backs that we want to get to, there are some big guns up there that are very expensive. So if you're going to do that, you got to get creative in other ways. I'm talking about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes sitting there up top at 85 and 8,400. I am going to be playing some stacks with both of those guys. They're both coming in at sub 10% ownership. I think the rest of the field is going to do what we think your first initial thought is, right? Go pay down to Kirk Cousins, go pay down to Gardner Minshew, take advantage of the cheap quarterback and some of the cheaper stacks, and pay up for these big gun running backs. But I feel like a good contrarian way is let's just play maybe the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL and Josh Allen, especially coming in at 5% ownership against what we've said for weeks, maybe versus the worst defense in the NFL, the Chicago Bears. I'll gladly sign up for those guys in a situation where it's just cold. We're not going to be dealing with a lot of snow or rain, and the winds should be fairly calm. So I will be going there to Josh Allen. Again, for what we're getting and the upside there, I don't think you can go away from it. And those guys have monster potential to take down a tournament this week. So Josh Allen, for me, if I had to lean one, I would take him over Mahomes just because of the matchup. I know Seattle's not great, but they're not terrible either. The Bears are terrible. So we could see Josh Allen spike week here, still fighting for something, obviously, in terms of playoff seeding. Moving on down, Justin Fields, I like on the other side of that quite a bit. He has no weapons. Offensive line sucks, but to what I was just talking about, the Bills obviously got smoked by the Dolphins last week. Their defense is banged up and has not been quite as dominant the last few weeks. Justin Fields obviously gives you that floor in terms of rushing upside, and he should be trailing in a good game environment. So this is a guy who played at Ohio State. He's no, stranger to cold weather. It's going to be freezing, but I think that gives an advantage to the offense a little bit. So Josh Allen, Justin Fields, and then Patrick Mahomes 3 for me if you're paying up at quarterback this week. If you're paying down, for me, I rank them Gardner Minshew, 4,800. Again, plop them on maybe the best offense in the league, arguably. I know the matchup's not great, but they're going to want to take it to Dallas. Game environment, indoors, should be a good one. 4,800 is just tough to beat, man. It really is. He opens up a lot of doors for you on this slate. He's looking at about 15% ownership right now. So just kind of take it for its word. The one concern is Jalen Hurts reportedly may try to play this game. If I get any word that that's going to happen, I'm out on it, which really provides a tough situation just because obviously there's only 2 games on the late slate in the afternoon. So if you go there and Jalen Hurts ends up warming up and starting, your lineups are in major trouble with Minshew in there. So the other guy that I do like down here is Brock Purdy. You get a Washington defense that obviously is not, they're not terrible. They're pretty good, actually. They're getting main pass rusher back. Name is slipping me right now. But their defense is solid, but the Niners offense is absolutely rolling right now. You've seen Brock Purdy come in, operate this offense, just not even missing a beat. He's at home here. Weather should be good. And he's only $700 more than Minshew. So you could build into your lineups a potential pivot situation there if you're going to play Minshew. But I like Purdy just on his own. I think he's got clear stacking options, especially with Debo out. You can go right to McCaffrey, and then you could kind of choose between Ayuk and Kittle if you want to hit that. So I like Brock Purdy this week. I just think, it's a great situation for him coming back home, as well as revenge game. Kyle Shanahan absolutely hates this organization for what they kind of did to him and his pops. So I like the Niners absolutely steamroll Washington here. And then Kirk Cousins and Danny Dimes. I think you could go here, no problem. They are going to gain a lot of fire here, a lot of chalk. People are steaming them up. That's highly predicted to be the most popular game, probably in terms of stacking on the slate. I have no problem with it. I'm going to have my shares, but I like some of these other contrarian spots a little bit more. Both these teams aren't very good. And so we've seen it multiple times when it's heavy chalk on a situation that looks great, but when you really dive in, both teams aren't very good. I just think there's bust potential here. So I don't mind if you want to do it. In my opinion, if you're going to go that way, overstack it, full game stack it. You can pick off some pieces as well, but there's also some spots I think in this game where you can get off the chalk. So I have no problem with Cousins or Danny Dimes as well. Moving on to running backs real quick. McCaffrey and Henry up top. I don't need to go into detail really why both those guys are amazing plays. I think Henry went for over 200 last time he played Houston, and McCaffrey has just been the absolute main bell cow in this offense, especially since Debo went out. You're paying a hefty price, $8,600, $8,800 for both of those guys. They're also going to be major chalk, 30% ownership on both of them. So if you're going to do it, I'm going to get both of those guys into a ton of lineups. I'm even going to try to find some ways to get both of them into the same lineup. And I think it's possible this week, but just, buyer beware. Obviously, you're paying for it, so you need to get different in other areas if you think that's the nuts. Moving on down, I think Saquon's in a really good spot at 20% ownership, 7,900. Nick Chubb is really interesting to me. He has not been getting the workload that we love, but this game is going to be absolutely horrific in terms of weather. So when you talk about windy game, bad weather, I'll take a 220, 230-pound Nick Chubb running up the gut, hopefully 25, 30 times, which is what we want to see out of him. And we've seen it before. He can break a slate. He can keep up with CMC and Henry if those guys have great games. I think he's a really good spot here. And with the most attractive part, in my opinion, is he's at 4% ownership. So Nick Chubb for sure. If you go down a little bit, Stevenson at 7,100 I think a fine play. Tony Pollard, he's starting to get expensive, but the guy just keeps producing. We know how much Dallas wants this one. So at 7K, I don't have a problem there. I think Kenneth Walker is pretty sneaky at 6,400. Sounds like he's going to play. He's just very dynamic, man, and explosive in a game they should be trailing, especially with Tyler Lockett out now. They're going to have to lean on him more, I would think. I think Ken Walker is a good play. Miles Sanders, good spot, kind of bounce back after burning everyone last week at 6,200. Jerick McKinnon, 14% ownership. I still think, he's too cheap probably for what he's been doing the last 2 weeks, going over 30 points. You can play him. And probably one of my favorite plays of the slate is J.K. Dobbins at 5,800. Against an Atlanta defense that sucks. So J.K. Dobbins down low for me, I really like. Moving on to receivers, some one-off guys that I like. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7,800. The dude just keeps getting targets, and he's facing a defense that you can beat. Devonta Smith at 6,600 is kind of my preference over A.J. Brown this week, just from a straight price perspective. It's hard for me to go up to A.J. Brown with Gardner Minshew in, just because I don't know if that connection is necessarily going to be there. I want some of these Eagles players, but I'm going to lean to Devonta this week. Going down a little bit, I think DJ Moore at 5,500 is a great play. Let's see. I think Gabe Davis at 5K. We're going to see one more spike week, I think, out of this guy before it's all said and done, before the regular season's over. And again, we talked about it with this Bears defense. This could be one where if you don't have Gabe Davis, you're in trouble to take down a tournament. So I'm going to be taking some shots on him at an even 5K for sure. Drake London at 4,800 is kind of your other side of that DJ Moore game. The against the Ravens defense that I think is definitely exploitable. 4,800 for for London. Treylon Burks at 4,600. No one's going to play this guy coming off of an injury, and with Malik Willis now in, because everyone's going to be going to Henry, but that is direct leverage off of Derrick Henry chalk. So if you don't have Henry into a lineup, I think he's a kind of a sneaky play here. Versus Houston's defense that sucks. So I have some interest in Treylon Burks this week. KJ Osborne looks like he's been more of a threat in this offense over Adam Thielen. He's more explosive. 4,500, I think he's a great play. Jim called on him last week in that short 3-game slate, and he delivered in a major way. So I'm going to go back to him. Marquise Goodwin is your bring back to Chiefs stacks, I think is interesting. Richie James is in a good spot as a bring back to your Viking stacks. Jahan Dotson, I'm going to have a little bit of 3,900. Again, Washington's going to have to get quick passing game with the Niners pass rush. He's in the slot a lot of the times, him and Curtis Samuel as well. So I think that quick passing game to him is interesting. And that's kind of it for receivers. Maybe a little bit in Terrence Marshall, but that's kind of it for me. Tight ends, we always talk about it. It's Kelsey up top, Kittle in the middle, and Goddard and Kmet down low for me. Defense, fit what you can, but for me, I'm going to have just a massive target share on the Philadelphia Eagles at 2,200. That's just a total mispricing and embarrassing. I know Dallas is really good, but come on. I mean, 2,200 for one of the best defenses in the league. I'll take that all day long. We've seen Dak, melt down in situations like this. He's also throws about 2 picks a game, it seems like lately. So all you need is a few points there from some turnovers. Maybe they can take one back to the house or a punt, special teams play or something like that. Maybe there's a fumble out there. I think these guys are an easy 5 to 7 points at 2,200. I think you could do a lot worse. Cowboys at 26, also same reasoning, just the other side. You're also facing Gardner Minshew. Who knows what's going to happen there? And then the Saints for me at 2,800, I think, with that weather game. It's just going to be a complete so who knows what's going to go down. Moving on to top stacks for me, top 5 from my perspective is Josh Allen at 8,500 versus the Bears. I love. He is going to be my favorite stack of the week. He is cheap. Going down, I like. I talked about it. Brock Purdy and the 49ers at 5,500 at the quarterback position. I also think going kind of back up and boomeranging, Patrick Mahomes at 8,400 versus the Seahawks, I think is in a really good spot. Gardner Minshew down here is, in my opinion, probably the 5th best. He's going to be in a lot of my stacks for sure. And then in terms of playing Justin Fields, I will pretty much be stacking Justin Fields with a Bills stack. That's how I'm going to play it. I'm just going to basically replace Allen for Fields, save the $1,000 and just let it ride. So a lot of the same stacks, just with Fields on the other side. That's kind of my thought process this week, guys. Hopefully it works out for you. Bold call of the week. I think Nick Chubb has a monster game. I think he keeps a pace with Derrick Henry and CMC, and we see him as a top 3 running back this week. At 4% ownership, it's a way to get off major chalk, mega chalk, whatever you want to call it. So if you want to go to some of these busy games in terms of ownership, I think Nick Chubb's your guy to get off of it. So I'm predicting 150 and 2 touchdowns out of Nick Chubb. Book it. That's it. Joey, Jim are going to give you their breakdowns and separate videos. Again, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for tuning in. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we will be back next week. Peace.